Good evening, I'm Greg Hurst.
I'm Marlene McClinton. Thank you for joining us.
We're starting tonight with a late update on that deadly shooting rampage at 2 brokerage offices just north of Atlanta with a tie to Houston.
Police say the man suspected of killing 9 people there, plus his wife and 2 children south of the city, has now taken his own life. 11 News reporter Laurie Perez, live in Buckhead, where the offices are located. She has the latest.
It was a gruesome and anxious scene here for many hours this afternoon. More than 3,000 people were evacuated as members of the local and FBI SWAT teams went room to room in office buildings looking for the suspect. 6 hours later, the gunman and many of his victims were dead. It was a massive manhunt for a shooting suspect police described as angry and armed. Just hours after a disgruntled day trader went on a shooting rampage, he committed suicide after police pulled him over at a gas station.
This brings this very tragic day to an end.
The day of terror started with a chaotic scene at 2 office buildings in the upscale Buckhead district of Atlanta. 44-year-old Mark Barton calmly walked into 2 brokerage offices and opened fire.
Sure enough, there's blood drips in the hallway leading into the property manager's office, and there was blood all over there.
When the shooting was over, 9 people were dead, nearly a dozen injured. Workers locking themselves in their offices until police gave the all clear. Police say Barton had concerns about financial losses. Witnesses say he walked into the busy office complex, greeted several workers, noted it was a down day for the stock market, then opened fire.
He was just up on the corner of that building and he had a girl with him. So we just laid down on the ground next to the police cars.
Earlier, police found Barton's wife and children dead in their southeast Atlanta home. 5 years ago, his previous wife and mother-in-law were found bludgeoned to death. Police accused him of the vicious crime, but the charges were later dropped due to a lack of evidence. Again, 13 people are dead tonight, 12 more injured. Atlanta police say this is the deadliest massacre in a decade. Laurie Perez for CBS News. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Laurie.
And as we said, there is a Houston connection. Momentum Securities, based here, says one of its offices is involved. 11 News reporter Jeff McShann is live at the company's headquarters, which is located in the Galleria area. Jeff?
That's right. We're in the 1800 block of Bering, Greg, and here day traders were shocked just like we all were watching a television report today. They have monitors up on the 7th floor here, and they were watching the network news as they broke into afternoon programming. They didn't talk to us at that time. We've been waiting for a company spokesman ever since, and one showed up about 15 minutes ago. We're talking about Rocky Robinson, an attorney representing Momentum Securities. He had this statement.
Momentum Securities deeply regrets the incident that took place today in Atlanta. Tonight, we offer our sincere and heartfelt thoughts and prayers to those that have been killed and injured. Mark Barton was a client of Momentum Securities. There was simply no indication that this unfortunate incident might happen. When we heard of the shooting, we immediately contacted the FBI here in Houston and offered our full cooperation. In the coming days, we'll be working with law enforcement officers and authorities here in Houston and in Atlanta to determine the circumstances behind this tragic event.
Rocky Robinson, the attorney representing Momentum Securities here in Houston. As you see, we'll tell you a little bit about the company. It is based here in Houston. They have 9 branches nationwide. It was founded back in 1995, not that long ago, but it is one of the largest and one of the most largest and oldest electronic day trading companies in the United States, and they are very proud about that. Again, very little information out of here tonight, except they are going to completely cooperate with the FBI, Greg. That is the situation from here. We didn't get a chance to talk to them about security at this building, although we've seen a lot of security at this building here this evening, but don't know if that is a regular situation or just for tonight with all the media out here tonight.
Unfortunately, the situation could change security everywhere, I guess.
That's right.
Jeff, thanks.
Alltech, the place where the shooting started, is a respected day trading company. In fact, it is the oldest day trading company in the country. Founded by Harvey Houken, the man who originated the computer program for day trading. Headquarters are New Jersey with 23 offices nationwide. Alltech employs psychotherapists to help its day traders deal with the stress. Houken says he does not think Barton just snapped.
He had not been trading. He had come back to apparently discuss something or go over something, and you know, the fact that he had 2 handguns with him would lead me to believe that this was not spontaneous.
Alltech requires day traders to undergo extensive training on its programs and day trading practices.
So what exactly is day trading? Tonight, 11 News reporter Terrence Jackson takes a look at a high-pressure business with big bucks at stake.
Years ago, you had to be on Wall Street to experience the frenzy of stock trading.
36 cents, that's above all 12 estimates.
But now, so-called day traders are buying and selling stocks through the computer. At Momentum Securities in the Galleria area, some day traders are making a fortune.
The day after Thanksgiving, I made $32,000 in one day.
But winners are far outnumbered by losers.
The next Monday, I lost $28,000 of it back again.
It doesn't work for everybody. In fact, the majority of people lose.
Insiders say the learning curve is tremendous. Most new traders will lose tens of thousands of dollars over a few months before they learn the game.
The more people talk about it, even negatively, the more the rash of inquiries go up.
To have a chance at being successful, you have to understand the stock market, master the computer and the day trading software, and have the nerves to buy and sell thousands of dollars worth of stocks in a matter of seconds. There have been numerous articles in major publications featuring whiz kids and others who made millions day trading over the past couple of years. Just the chance of striking it rich has attracted thousands of people to this relatively new business. But Greg, most of those folks end up losing, and they do not trade very long.
Yeah, that's because they lose it all, right?
All or most of it, yeah.
All right, got to know when to fold them. Terrence, thanks. Stay with us for the latest on the shooting rampage. We will have more up-to-the-minute coverage a little bit later in this newscast.
Moving now to details about a deadly accident in our area. A van and two 18-wheelers collided during evening rush hour in northwest Harris County. Happened at Highway 290 and Skinner. 11 News reporter Terry Elliott tells us a law officer says an ambulance would not stop to help.
A violent and deadly collision. A van traveling inbound on Highway 290 veered off the freeway and slammed into the backside of a disabled 18-wheel truck parked on the shoulder. A second collision followed after the van spun back onto the roadway.
Apparently he overcorrected and went back into the center lane, and then the tractor trailer hit him.
The second crash ended with the van erupting into a ball of fire. A 13-year-old boy jumped out engulfed by flames. Witnesses say rural Metro ambulance paramedics initially refused to help the teenager, saying the wreck was out of their jurisdiction.
And they just kind of ignored me. And I said, look, I'm a police officer. You need to come up here. And he still ignored me. And I finally said, look, I'm going to put you in jail if you don't come up here and treat this young man up here.
Me and this officer went down and tried to get these guys to come out and help, and they wouldn't help him, and this guy was going to die.
Witnesses tell 11 News the paramedics eventually helped the burn victim. However, he and two other people in the van died. Troopers say it's still unclear why the van left the highway and collided with the parked truck. And 11 News asked rural Metro ambulance service if paramedics refused to help at the crash site. A supervisor says the case is under investigation, and so he couldn't say a lot other than that the company has a policy to administer aid if paramedics are flagged down. 11 News also contacted a neighbor of the three people inside the van. She tells us that a woman, a homemaker, was driving the van, riding along with her two sons, 11 and 13, as mentioned. All three died in that accident. The woman's husband was contacted several hours ago. Marlene?
Terry, lots of folks still on the scene there. What's traffic like?
Well, traffic has been open to outbound. Outbound on 290 is open. It was closed off about a couple hours ago. But inbound traffic is being detoured to the access road about a mile before you get to the Skinner Spring Cypress exit.
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Okay.
A second semi-accident today. This time a beer truck flips over the side of a freeway ramp on Highway 59 North near I-10 East. Police say the driver was going too fast as he was trying to move from 59 onto the interstate, losing control of the truck, which flipped over and wound up on the ground under the ramp. He was taken to the hospital with relatively minor injuries.
As the case against suspected serial killer Angel Maturino Resendez continues, part of the reward money is being handed out to his sister. Manuela Karkowitz received $86,000 of the $126,000, and the rest will be paid after unspecified conditions are met. The decision on the reward money was made by various law enforcement agencies involved in her brother's surrender and his arrest. Resendiz is charged with capital murder in the deaths of a Houston doctor and an elderly woman in East Texas. He also faces murder charges in 2 other states and is suspected in 5 other killings.
Extremely hot weather has now claimed 71 lives in 11 states. No record highs here, though. But the Houston heat is still dangerous, and that danger was clearly visible today. It caused a woman to collapse in the 11,400 block of Old Katy Road today. The 49-year-old was taken to Memorial City Hospital, treated for heat exposure. She got weak and dizzy after her car broke down, and she tried to push it over to the shoulder. Local hospitals say during the last 2 weeks, they have seen more and more people suffering from heat-related problems.
Well, the broiler was on high. Let's get a late update now on the weather from Dr. Neil Frank. Doc?
Well, Greg, that heat wave that continues to dominate a good portion of the U.S., including Texas, continues again tonight. Let's take a look at the weather board. You can see how hot it was this afternoon. Upper part of the state in the hundreds. Elsewhere, mid to upper 90s. We'll have all the details on these temperatures when we come back, Greg.
Talk to you then. Fire crews were battling the heat and a huge wildfire in northwest Harris County. Tonight, they have contained the 4-alarm blaze, which got out of control at a garbage dump. These pictures from Area 11 show firefighters had their hands full. Thank goodness no one was hurt.
Unbelievable pictures coming up. A plane that made it through World War II does not make it through an air show.
Plus, a fire, a leak at a Houston area chemical plant. Phone calls are now alerting people to possible danger.
You're watching Houston's leader for live local coverage. Greg Hurst and Marlene McClinton, 11 News at 10.
A Texas pilot involved in a horrible crash today at an air show in Wisconsin. Take a look at this home video. The World War II Corsair Warbird loses control, runs into another plane on the runway, caught its left wing on the ground, then flips over in flames. Another plane was trying to avoid the crash but couldn't. It clipped its wing. The pilot flying the first plane is 56-year-old Laird Doctor of Dallas. He is in critical condition tonight. No one else, though, was injured.
Houston is the petrochemical capital of the world. And as you know, there are often spills, explosions, and leaks. But some folks are getting advance warning if a toxic cloud is headed their way through lines of communication. In tonight's Up Close report, 11 News reporter Dave Failing says it's sort of 911 in reverse.
When things go boom in Baytown,
911 Deer Park, state your emergency.
or there's danger in Deer Park,
Something blew up a few years back and my house shook.
residents for years have relied on sirens scattered about city streets.
It's an emergency siren, and when it goes off, it alerts the whole neighborhood.
But increasingly, these cities and towns and the petrochemical plants themselves are turning to telephone technology to get the word out.
Quickly and accurately, we can get the area notified of any type of message that we want to put out.
I have to tell everybody it's here. This is a work in progress.
These chemical plant operators have called in Red Delot, who markets a computer system that can call dozens of people in specific areas with a pre-recorded message, and it's all done within minutes.
They quit calling us as soon as they get their phone calls.
Deer Park has been using the system for several years.
Tom John Lincoln 07 Henry.
The system's main computer is in Baton Rouge, and Deer Park has to call company operators there, who in turn send out the calls. But in Baytown, they've bought their own system.
But it is, in essence, the police calling the community as opposed to the community calling the police.
It's 911 in reverse. Baytown's communications coordinator, Malcolm Swinney, can click on a block of homes. The computer then finds the phone numbers and calls with a recorded message.
It'll tell you that there's an emergency in your area, and here are the steps that you should do to protect yourself.
It's quick and easy and may soon be used for a lot more than the occasional plant explosion. Police departments are just now beginning to look at the reverse 911 type systems, not as just a way to warn residents of danger, but as a way to ask those residents for their help in fighting crimes.
If you see this child in your neighborhood, please call 911.
From finding lost kids to tracking down suspects, police can use the system to ask for help, block by block, without having to go door to door.
We should be able to do about 50 telephone calls every minute and a half.
But the systems aren't foolproof. They can only call listed phone numbers, and those lists are updated only once or twice a year by private phone directory companies. The big phone companies themselves, including Southwestern Bell, have refused to hand over their master lists that include unlisted numbers. Jack Beckham is with Deer Park.
If we could get this database off of the 911 data, and we could update our system every quarter, and help us tremendously.
Still, the systems can reach the majority of residents, and in the future may become more common as a way to warn people of danger or to ask for their help, one house at a time. Dave Faley, 11 Up Close.
And the company that developed the system for Baytown is also working on one to warn people living along pipelines that run hundreds of miles, often in remote areas where getting the word out would be tough.
We'll have Doc's Friday forecast up next.
Plus, the moon over Michigan. Stay tuned.
With Houston's most accurate forecast, Dr. Neil Frank and SkyMax 11 Doubler, only on 11 News at 10.
Ready to howl at the moon, a sight to be seen in Michigan overnight. A full moon and lightning combining to make this scene both gorgeous and spooky at the same time. Certainly something to behold, right?
Stay alert, that's for sure. Right. Here's Neil now with the full forecast for folks in these parts. Doc?
Not much lightning around here today, although there were a couple of showers that drifted by this afternoon. The reason for that is because we continue to have our weather dominated by a high pressure area that's been in the vicinity since the weekend. As we put the satellite picture in motion, we were hoping to have a shower or two move across the Louisiana border during the morning hours. That just didn't happen. All those showers dissipated quite rapidly, and so you can see nothing but sunshine over the state today. High pressure that is responsible for that drifted a little bit to the east. It's over Arkansas and northern Michigan at the present time, and with sunshine and light southerly winds, it was very hot today. You can see the temperatures over the northern part of the state today were basically in the hundreds, 105 at Wichita Falls. That's where the Dallas Cowboys are working out. 102 also at Dallas. Here locally we made 96. That's 3 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And let's put this in perspective. So far this year, if you take the departures from normal, like 3 degrees today, for July, we're still 16 degrees cooler than we should have been for this time of the year, while yet last year at this time we were 159 degrees warmer than we should have been, and the temperature was 100 degrees, 89 on the island today. Now, as we put the satellite pictures in motion for the last 24 hours, you'll watch the rotation of the clouds clockwise around this huge high pressure area that dominates the weather over about 2/3 of the nation. And it was hot today all the way from the mid-Atlantic states up to the Canadian border, with hundreds from North Texas on up to Oklahoma, over into Arkansas, 103 at St. Louis, 104 at Wichita, 110 in Pierre, South Dakota. And you can see that it's been very hot. So what's going to happen? Well, let's put the maps into motion. You can see that high is going to stay about where it is for the next probably 2, 3, maybe 4 days, which means it ought to be very warm here over the weekend. So our forecast would indicate, again, we're going to see temperatures in the mid to upper 90s here locally, slight chance of a late afternoon or evening thunderstorm, and it's going to stay hot right into the weekend with those temperatures mid-upper 90s all the way to the start of the new week. And if you had our new computer program there at home, you could keep track of all these warm temperatures. It's called Nowcaster, KHOU.com. It's free. All you have to do is to download it. So it's going to stay hot for the next several days, Marlene and Greg.
In this weather, you'd almost think it was summer, wouldn't you? Thanks, Doc.
Well, the children won't be split apart, thanks to the couple adopting all of them.
Some people adding some unusual pets to their family are crawling all over some machines. And the courageous Texan who won the Tour de France rolls into the Big Apple.
None other than the champion of the Tour de France, Lance Armstrong.
You're watching Houston's leader for live local coverage. Greg Hurst and Marlene McClinton, 11 News at 10.
An Arizona couple has adopted 10 siblings in an effort to keep them all in the same family. Van and Shirley Hughes have been foster parents to these children the past 4 years. 6 boys, 4 girls, ranging in ages 4 to 17 years old. Their biological mother was stripped of her parental rights because of substance abuse problems. The Hugheses have 2 grown children of their own. They admit raising family while they're in their 50s isn't necessarily easy, but they wanted to give these youngsters a chance to lead normal lives.
Did you say normal? People in Japan are expanding their families. You might have heard beetles are all the rage now as pets, but I bet you didn't know they're now in vending machines. You know, a Coke, a Smile, a beetle. The creepy critters are selling like hotcakes at this store. They're sold in pairs costing about $4. Now, to keep the beetles alive, these vending machines are equipped with special thermostats. And here I thought the idea was to get rid of the bugs.
It's the one we smash. But
that's right. Got it.
Weren't all the games matinee games today?
Yeah, half price.
Wow.
Yeah, big deal. If you would have told Larry Dierker on Monday the Astros would take 3 or 4 games from the Colorado Rockies this week, he'd probably say, go see my brain surgeon. Astros have seen many leads come and go in the Mile High City, so there's not a lot of disappointment in the clubhouse after their 7-game streak was snapped. In fact, we saw some sparkling plays. Jeff Berry with a high pop-up off first base. Jeff Bagwell says, I can't see it because of the sun. Catcher Paul Bacco makes the sensational grab. Astros know Darryl Ward does not have the best defensive skills in the outfield. Lets Nefi Perez's little shot get underneath him. And when he gets it, when it goes by him, Terry Shumpert circled the bases as the Rockies would take a commanding lead. But take a look at Derek Bell under a lot of heat from many Houston fans. Watch him go get this one. Might be the play of the year on the highlight reel. Astros did have a chance to tie the game in the 9th with Tony Eusebio at the plate and a couple of runners on. Grounder to second is a close play at first. The Astros fall 4-2. They head to San Diego for a weekend set with the Padres. Meanwhile, the Reds have crawled to within 2.5 games. Former Astro Eddie Taubensee with a 3-run jack as the Reds edge the Dodgers 7-5. So the Reds remain hot on the Astros' heels. Here is an unusual publicity stunt. Birth night in the Boston suburb of Lowell. As a minor league team came up with a way to sell out the ballpark. 30 pregnant women are waiting to learn who will be the first to deliver the prize, a year's supply of free diapers. No one went into labor during the game other than the opposing pitcher, so the first to give birth and call the team will win the contest. Not even the Cleveland Rockers can stop the Comets' roll. The 2-time WNBA champions have run their record to 18-4, far and away the best record in the league. Cheryl Swoops was the spark plug. She hits the clutch jumper just as the shot clock goes off. Cheryl with 28 today. And here comes Cynthia Cooper right into your living room. Watch out, cameraman. Coop with 16 points, all in the second half. But when the Comets clamp down on defense, it's always a victory. Swoops with the steal as she heads the other way. Comets win 71-65 to host the Mercury at Compact Saturday afternoon. Now playing in New York, Austin's Lance Armstrong in I'll Take Manhattan. The Big Apple giving the Tour de France winner a hero's welcome. The city of Austin plans a victory parade Monday, August the 9th. His win was one giant leap for mankind.
Tour de France, tour of the world. Why not? Thanks, Skip.
You bet.
Back in a moment with an update on the deadly attacks near Atlanta.
More up-to-the-minute coverage coming up next.
As we got halfway across the street, they said, there he is, he's got a gun.
Before we go, we want to give you the up-to-the-minute information on tonight's top story, that shooting rampage near Atlanta that's claimed at least a dozen lives.
Mark Barton, described as upset over stock trading losses, opened fire at 2 Atlanta brokerage firms. He killed 9 people there, fled the scene. 5 hours later, according to reports, he killed himself after police cornered him in a gas station parking lot. In addition to the 9 dead, 12 were wounded in the shootings. Police say Barton was armed with a 9mm and .45 caliber handguns.
The hallway was empty except for a few members of the police, and they were with their backs against the wall, the guns drawn like you'd see, in a movie. And basically, they said, close the door, close the door, close the door. And on the ground, on the carpet, there was a little trail of blood coming down the hall.
Barton's wife and 2 children were found dead in their apartment southeast of Atlanta. Police think he killed them first. Notes left on the bodies indicate he may have killed his wife Tuesday, the children Wednesday. People who knew Barton say he spent most of his time in his house on the computer.
Disturbing, tragic story. Of course, we will have another update for you coming up on the morning edition of 11 News starting at 5, so stay with us for the very latest.
That is our news for this evening. Thank you for joining us.
We're back tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.